Yes. Welcome everyone. Today we bring another talent people from USA and he is TJ Was. He is expert in communications. He do lot of activities. He do research. He do writings. He engage with teaching and training. And most important thing is that he have diversified experience from music industry, from hemp industry. So hopefully today's discussion will be very interesting for all of us. And by this way, we can learn many interesting topic. Especially, he do focus on food and sustainability. So, hello, Mr. Tijawas. How are you?
Yes, doing very well. I am the CEO of Tolen Creek Publishing, which is a new company that I formed because I was getting so busy as an individual freelance writer that I decided to incorporate myself. And I have a bachelor's degree in history, a master's degree in communication, both from Pittsburgh State University in Kansas. And I am a Freemason brother as in the Blue Lodge, we call it. I'm a Sigma Chi fraternity member, and I'm a Phi Kappa Phi Honor Society member that honors the top 10% of college students only in America. So that's my educational background. Now, my business background, I was the national sales manager for ApexStages.com for the music industry. We made mobile hydraulic concert stages for people such as Miley Cyrus when she was at Disney, as Hannah Montana, the presidential debates in Chicago, and music festivals like Lollapalooza in Chicago. And after that, I became an academic advisor for 2 years at the University of Kansas in Lawrence, Kansas. And next, I also became a freelance writer covering political rallies in both the Republican and Libertarian parties. And my motto on that politically is don't tread on anyone, follow the golden rule. And today we're going to talk about how hemp, specifically industrial hemp, can save the world because it's rope, not dope, and there's 10,000 uses that you can have for food, fiber, and fuel to engage ourselves in the future for prosperity and peace, as long as we use that, because according to National Geographic magazine, I'm a subscriber, and How We Save the World was their theme for April 2020, and they talk about how honeybees are the most important insects to pollinate our crops, and hemp is the most important crop for food, fuel, and fiber products. And do you have any questions so
Yes.
far, Sharif?
Yes. Before I move with your questions, I just want to know, like you are a writer, you have engagement with the research and writings. So even though you said that politically you have engagement with Republicans and other parties as well. So how you manage, like example, business and write-ups and most of the complex things, even engagement with research and political research, how you manage actually?
I use time management from President Dwight D. Eisenhower, who was the Supreme Allied Commander in World War II for D-Day when we attacked the Nazis at Normandy on Omaha Beach and the rest of the area with our allies, France and Great Britain. And the Eisenhower matrix, you can Google that for time management. It's called the Eisenhower matrix, and it tells you how to do things that are important and do soon first versus things that are unimportant and not do soon. And that's the simplified version. And I also try to have coffee. I don't drink alcohol. I just drink caffeine products, as well as I eat hemp food. And also my shirt, pants, and shoes are all made out of industrial hemp. So that's what I am very proud of. I use my products just like Senator Rand Paul. Senator Mitch McConnell, who's the Senate Majority Leader, a Republican in Congress. He is the main leader in the Senate. They wear hemp suits along with Libertarian Congressman Justin Amash from Michigan, and also Thomas Massey, who just won his primary for Congress in the Republican Party in Kentucky. They all wear hemp suits and hemp ties and hemp shoes. And there are many celebrities that promote hemp as well, such as Katy Perry. She had a meeting with Neil deGrasse Tyson, who's a scientist that is on National Geographic Channel and also the Fox Network, for Cosmos that Carl Sagan did in the 1970s as a scientist, to have science communication talking about the universe and the secrets of science. Well, Neil deGrasse Tyson convinced her to use her dresses are made out of hemp, her shoes, high heel shoes are made out of hemp, and even jewelry and sunglasses are made out of hemp, as well as designer handbags. So Hollywood loves hemp now that it is legalized to be used in America.
Mhm. Okay, I just want to know, like, if it's legalized in USA, so what the history behind that? We want to know the history of hemp, how it comes, how you produce everything from hemp. Um, we want to know the history.
Well, if you go to my Facebook page, TJ Wass, which is WASS is my last name, you can see that I posted a video about the 10,000 uses of hemp and the 20,000 year history that before the last ice age, there were Neanderthals and humans that were using hemp rope way back then as one of the very first fibers that we used to make clothing when we evolved. And it's very surprising the history that our founding fathers, George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and also Benjamin Franklin, all had hemp on their plantations to make what was called homespun, which is what Ben Franklin used to impress the French during the Revolutionary War. And the reason it was illegal was because in 1937, we had the Marijuana Tax Act that banned everything that was marijuana, cannabis, and hemp. And hemp has zero THC, which is what's in marijuana and cannabis. Even though it looks like it, it's like comparing cocaine to a bag of sugar. They look the same, but they're not the same. One's a drug, the other's something that gets you a fix of energy. And you need to know that hemp is rope, not dope, is the best way we describe it. And that's what convinced Congress and the president to legalize it in America. And the very first year of crops have been done so far. And it's much better than cotton because cotton has pesticides, it wastes water, and it's half as productive as hemp that only takes 3 months to grow, while trees that are used for paper take decades to grow. And it's great for the environment and climate change because it has more oxygen per acre than trees. So hemp is the future. And Elon Musk announced with the CEO of SpaceX that the very first crops that they grow on the moon base that he's going to create to go to Mars will also be planting hemp seeds along with potatoes, because you have to be self-sufficient in space. You can't rely on shipments from Earth. You have to grow your own food when you're in the moon and also Martian soil, so that we are going to the red planet within the next decade at SpaceX. And don't take my word for it. Go to Google and look up Elon Musk Mars mission. He's going to go ahead with it, working with NASA scientists.
Okay, very interesting. So as you are talking about hemp, so how, like, I want to know the consumer market right now. Like, how many people basically right now they're using product like you from hemp related product? What is the consumer market?
Oh, that's a very good question. Very interesting. Currently, we have famous people such as Queen Elizabeth II of the United Kingdom at Buckingham Palace in London. The food that they have, the bread, uses hemp seed flour. So the tea and crumpets that she eats, the crumpets are made out of hemp flour, which shows a lot of famous people like her use it as a status symbol because it is not as widespread as wheat or other grains that are used like sunflowers in flour for bread products. So she likes to have Twinings tea, and that's a brand that has been around for 300 years. It's the oldest company in England that has been running continuously. That's Twinings tea. It's the official tea of the royal family, and we're trying to get the products into the hands of people such as Bill Gates and his wife Melinda with their charity to grow hemp in third world countries because it's the easiest plant to grow for food, fuel, and fiber. You can use it in concrete that's fire resistant. You can use it for medicine. It's one of the biggest sources of protein in the plant world, and it has healthy omega-3 and omega-9 that's found in salmon, and tuna fish is also found in the hemp seed. So it's like what Thomas Jefferson and George Washington said when they were writing the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution are both made on hemp paper. It's we the people, we're looking for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Well, that was written on hemp paper, our two key founding documents here in America, and we're trying to spread the wealth to everyone. And that's what the 14 principles of the Envision 2030 program at the United Nations, the 14 goals, hemp covers all 14: poverty, malnutrition, prosperity by having capitalism where you can have loans to people from the World Bank and other local sources to help people plant their crops, have retail stores, and use it instead of silk. It's a lot more friendly than cotton. And in fact, Wranglers, which is a jean brand, now has hemp jeans exclusively. And they advertised on Rick and Morty in their season finale on Adult Swim, which is one of the most highly rated television shows in America, Rick and Morty.
Okay, so you are talking about 17 goal of United Nations, but issue is that, like, is there any record like for from the developing nations they using this hemp and they become succeed and they they reduce poverty, engage with this kind of business, and they're getting lot of physical benefits and the financial benefit from this hemp? Do you have any statistical data or something? As you say, do you have any research paper on behalf of hemp that you can share with our audience? If we need, we can read the scientific
Yes,
research paper.
yes, you can go to Google, look up hemp, industrial hemp, those two words, industrial hemp, on Google, and go to the Wikipedia page. It covers all the cited sources that shows the statistics, because I don't want to bore you with numbers, but the best thing that it does is it creates twice as much oxygen with twice as little water than trees do. So it's a lot more efficient. It takes only 3 months instead of 3 decades like trees. And one of the reasons it was illegal in America was the newspaper man, the businessman William Randolph Hearst. He made it illegal because he had forest timber land that he was afraid he was going to lose business from hemp. So he got them to think it was marijuana and cannabis and got it made illegal. And it's a travesty that that happened, because you can go to YouTube and look up a US government video from 1944 called Hemp for Victory. That's hemp for victory, and it tells you all the stats that you need to learn about that, as well as on my Facebook page, I have the 10,000 uses of hemp that has the statistics on that as well. And just real quick, I'd like to talk about Benjamin Franklin. He was a scientist who flew a kite in a thunderstorm to learn about the secrets of electricity. Well, the kite and the string that he had for the kite was made out of hemp with the metal key that he had, a copper key, and he shocked himself, and he was flying a kite in a thunderstorm. He could have been struck by lightning, but hemp was one of the ways that we had our founding fathers and founding mothers, like Betsy Ross, who sewed the first American flag. The flag was made out of hemp, American homespun hemp. So it's been around, and it was made illegal in 1937 and was re-legalized in 2014 with the hemp bill in Congress.
Mm-hmm. Okay, okay, very interesting. At present situations, we facing COVID-19 and this kind of challenges. Is there any medicine from hemp or something, or any solutions or anything in your hand or in your mind that you want to share with our audience?
Yes, hemp has a lot of omega-3 and omega-9 nutrients that are good for heart health as well as the lungs. And COVID-19 is bad on the heart and bad on the lungs, so it fortifies you against that, as well as protein to get nutrition to be very healthy at a young age, middle age, or elderly age. It's great for everyone because it's safe, nutritious, and it's an excellent source of nutrients for anybody. There's no allergies for hemp.
Okay, let's say I'm Muslim. Is there any like a barrier or something using this kind of things for Muslims? What do you think?
Oh, could you say that again? You cut out. We had some
Yeah.
technical difficulties.
Okay, but basically I'm Muslim. Like example, I'm a Muslim. I'm a practicer. I do practice in Muslims. So like if I want to utilize the hemp product, is there any barrier or anything for me? What do you think? Because my audience also, there are many Muslim audience.
Yes, well, that's why your country and every nation in the world need to lobby their politicians and the government to legalize it if it's still illegal. Now, Russia and China have legal hemp, and there's no bad things about that. And the medicine in hemp is great for depression and anxiety. It's called CBD, which is cannabinol, which is just Google hemp CBD. The liquor stores right next door over here sells it. They sell gummies, they sell pills, they sell oil because it's safe and effective for anxiety and depression, and also for good heart health and for the lungs. So don't take my word for it. Just Google CBD hemp, and you can find products online. And I'm not promoting any specific business because that would be insider trading. I'm just saying do your own research and buy the products and lobby your government officials to get it grown, because it will be for peace, prosperity, and profit.
Okay, very interesting. I want to move to the next level because you are a writer. Do you have any book recently? You published any book on hemp or
Yes.
any other things? Yes.
Yes, on Amazon.com, I have an exclusive book that I'm selling for 99 cents, less than $1. It's about the art and science of public speaking, business strategy, negotiation, and evolutionary psychology. It's called How to Persuade People the Winston Churchill Way, and it's based off of his secret methods of giving speeches to the British Empire to win World War II for the Allies, victory for liberty. And if you go to my Facebook page and message me, I have 5,000 friends and 2,000 followers, so I can't add you as a friend, but if you message me or email me at tjwass@gmail.com, I will send you a free copy, and you can also send me any offers that you have that you want to help you as a ghostwriter. I write for anonymous companies' press releases where I don't put my name on it. They get the credit and I get the profit. So that's what a ghostwriter does.
Okay. So you are a writer and you have a political views as well. What do you think? What will happen next 2 3 years in the globalizations? What your analysis on the globalization?
I see that we're like the Latin motto of America is E pluribus unum, which stands for out of many, one. Just like the United Nations, when President Eisenhower talked about atoms for peace, to give peace a chance, we needed all the nations, including the former Soviet Union, to come to the table, even though they were communists and they were dictators. We worked together at the United Nations to secure our economy, to keep out of war, and e pluribus unum, out of many one. So we're very different. We're a cosmopolitan, biodiverse set of nations that disagree on religion, laws, and morality. But what I believe in is the libertarian solution. And there's two things to say about that. One, we believe that taxation is theft, that people should be able to keep more of their money because the government wastes it so much. In America, we had the Air Force. We found out the Pentagon was spending $1,500 on a coffee cup. It was a $2 cup for $1,500. And we're spending 10 times as much money on the military than the last dozen countries combined, and that's the United States. So we say, don't tread on anyone. Taxation is theft, and follow the non-aggression principle where you don't steal people's stuff and you respect their privacy. So that's what libertarians believe.
Mhm. Okay, okay. Like as you have a different political views and you have a lot of interesting things, so how you develop your thought process because you have different perceptions, different ideology. What we naturally do, you have different aspect and different goals. How you develop your ideology and fact and thought process for achieve your like objective.
Well, I believe in the oath to our Constitution of the United States that has a Bill of Rights for everybody to have free speech. They can practice any religion. In America, you can be a Christian like myself, you can be a Muslim and have a mosque, or you can be a Jew with a synagogue, or you can be a Buddhist that meditates and has mindfulness. You can all work together. And when I researched Malaysia, I saw that you are a majority Muslim country, but your constitution allows the free practice of religion for everyone, even though Muslims are the main audience. And I found out that when I researched Muhammad, he talks about Christians and Jews as being the people of the book, where you should try to be peaceful and negotiate, just like the Silk Road that we had in China to give their products, like throughout the Muslim countries, to go to the Christian countries in Europe. So we tried to have peace through progress with proactive prosperity, thanks to capitalism, because it raises people out of poverty. Communism kills hundreds of millions of people. Look at China, look at Russia, look at their history. You had Stalin and Mao Zedong. His little red book may be popular, but it was covered with blood of poor people in his great leap forward. And don't take my word for it. Look up the history of Tiananmen Square in 1989, for instance, and the Berlin Wall that fell that same year that had East and West Germany in Berlin divided. The Berlin Wall fell and the Soviet Union fell because of America, England, France, and our allies across the world working for capitalism, truth, justice, and the American way, as you could say if you're a fan of Superman and DC Comics.
Okay, okay. So, like example, in today's world, we want a lot of peace. We do not want violence. We want more global relationship. We want global partnerships. So, what your advice? What you think from your political views or your strategic point of view? What should be the global like right now? How we can make more friends like you, and we make more positive impact in the world?
Well, my friend Jeffrey Tucker is an Austrian economist who talks about decentralization and giving more freedom to people. Even though you have a global community, you have more local control instead of somebody 100 miles away in the capital deciding your life. It should be your local city and neighborhood working together for safety, to prevent crime, and to also work together to build businesses and give loans from banks so people can prosper together. And there's a website called fee.org, which is fee.org, which is an economic forum that talks about Austrian economics with Murray Rothbard, who wrote Man, Economy, and State, which is a great reading situation to introduce you to Austrian economics. Frederick Bastiat, who wrote The Law, and you can go to Google and look up the Tuttle twins. It's research-based children's books on what libertarian principles are about. And my friend is the author of those books, Connor Boyack, and just look up Tuttle twins, Tuttle twins, and look up those books to teach your children how to prosper with peace, liberty, and freedom.
So you are talking about peace, liberty, and freedom. But culturally, let's say every country is different, or there are different country, different cultural aspect. But how we can find out this kind of liberalisms and the liberal thoughts? What's the standard of liberal thoughts? How do you feel?
Well, libertarians believe in the following mission statement. We believe that same-sex gay married couples should be able to protect their industrial hemp, medical marijuana, and recreational cannabis plants with privately owned guns that they bought off the internet with Bitcoin. We believe in total freedom, and all the statistics prove that when you have good people with guns, you can protect yourself against criminals from stealing your property or trying to rape somebody. And more women, according to the FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, are saved every year from concealed guns that they carry to prevent rape than people that die in car crashes. So guns keep people safe because a well-armed society is a polite society, according to Heinlein, the science fiction author.
Mhm. Okay, okay. So let's talk about your cultures. If you want to share your present conditions, COVID-19 situation in USA, can you share with our audience and what's the conditions and how you taking different kind of like protective measures and what's the present condition of your area right now?
Right now, we're a hot spot. So what we have, our grocery stores are open, but there's plexiglass in front of the cashier. And We have barber shops are closed, so that's why I need a haircut. They're not in business right now. And publicly, you can wear a mask and also protect the elderly by not visiting them, just having face-to-face relations on video, like on Zoom meetings. And right now, we're just saying be cautious. If you feel sick, don't go to work and stay at home, and this will pass. It's just like the flu. And there will be a vaccine as soon as possible. And I'll be the first in line to get the vaccine because I believe Bill Gates is working on one with his foundation. He's invested millions of dollars into the research. So I'm waiting for the vaccine, just like to cure polio.
Okay, like example, what the present statistics on vaccine? Like, I just want to know when you think that it will come, and what will be the situation of the vaccines, vaccine research. Can you share with your like with the idea and other things?
According to President Donald Trump's White House doctor in charge, Dr. Fauci, he says that a vaccine can be here within 6 months. And the Pentagon is using their resources, their doctors, to work on the issue right now. So 6 months from today or before 2021, we should have it by December of 2020. So that's what we're hoping for, is the best case scenario. And currently, Israel, of all places, they say that they have a vaccine that they're in the testing stages now that might even be produced sooner. So the scientists in Jerusalem are working on the issue now. Both Jewish, Muslim, and even Christian doctors are working together there to have what's called Tikkun Olam, which is a Hebrew phrase for making the world a better place. And they're working together, even though they disagree about the two-state solution at the United Nations. That's another story. They're coming together, different faiths and religions, even atheists that are scientists that don't believe in God. They're working together to get this done.
I think side by side, China, even Australia, even UK, Germany, different country also are trying to produce these things. And I don't know. I have some I need some understanding, but maybe I will discuss with the different forum the vaccine trial procedures. I have to understand the vaccine trial procedure, how it works, or how we can find that this vaccine actually 100% follow the trial and these things. I want to go to the next issue. That recently we saw that United States, they have Black Lives Matters and this kind of movement, and many people join with that. What your ideology on that particular point? What do you think? What the present situation?
Well, there's two issues that are very important for Victory for Liberty. Black lives do matter. All lives matter, but specifically National Geographic, the magazine, on their billboard on their building just raised a big banner that says Black Lives Matter. That's National Geographic magazine. Support them by subscribing because they support Black Lives Matter. Confederate statues are being taken down because those were slave owners, and we should not be honoring slave owners. Even our military bases are named after them. We should do just like NASA has done. NASA just renamed their headquarters the Mary Jackson NASA headquarters, and she was a Black African American, the first engineer hired by NASA, a mathematician. She got us to the moon with scientist von Braun, who was a former Nazi that we recruited with Operation Paperclip to make sure that we stole their scientists from Germany so that the Soviet Union would not have them in the space race. We got to the moon because of Mary Jackson, and you can look the movie up called Hidden Figures. And it's an amazing true story, and they just honored her memory Mary Jackson, and that's how we're doing it. We're giving rights for women, just like the Libertarian presidential candidate, Jo Jorgensen. She is a doctor and she's the Libertarian presidential candidate. It's not just Democrat Joe Biden or Republican Donald Trump. We have a third party. And the Simpsons, there's a meme that I made. They have Lisa Simpson that they predicted would be president after Trump. Well, the Simpsons predicts the future, so maybe we will get enough percentage to get in the primetime presidential debates, because a two-party system is corrupt. People are dissatisfied with Trump. He's polling less than Jimmy Carter and George H.W. Bush. He's at 39% approval. So people are pissed off at Trump right now, but they're not happy with Biden either. So go to Jo Jorgensen, look up her name on Google, and Libertarian Party, lp.org. And Black Lives Matter, and we must honor everybody like Martin Luther King Jr., who learned from Gandhi nonviolence to win civil rights. We need to have a dream like Martin Luther King, where you judge people on the content of their character and not the color of their skin. So we should not discriminate against anybody, regardless if you're white, black, brown, or blue, or green, or whatever color you are. Just like the species in Star Trek or Star Wars, they work together even though they're aliens. That's science fiction, but maybe one day we will find another civilization in the universe, according to Carl Sagan and Neil deGrasse Tyson from Cosmos on National Geographic Network and Fox, airing this fall. Cosmos.
Mhm. Okay, so as there are many things happening present world, one thing I just want to know. Let's say now, as a Muslim, I know I'm very peace loving. Even I know many Muslims in Malaysia and many people there. Most of the people is very much peace loving. But example, in recent years, we find that in the world, they say that Muslim is not practicing peace. They are fundamentalists, many things, and that's why the first world and the developing nations, the Muslim country, we have some gap. What do you think? What's your thought on that particular point? How we can minimize this gap? How we can be better friend, and we can prove ourselves that we are very much peaceful and we love to contribute for human civilization.
Well, I believe that by working with our ally Saudi Arabia is making headway in human rights and women's rights for equality, because you can Google this, look it up. Sophia the robot from Hanson Robotics is the first citizen granted a visa and also a passport from the nation of Saudi Arabia, and they're Muslim. I'm not sure if they're Sunni or Shiite. Please forgive my ignorance, but they are a world leader in giving robot rights, just like the Future of Life Institute with MIT scientist Max Tegmark, who wrote the book Life 3.0, Being Human in the Age of Artificial Intelligence, which was Elon Musk's favorite book of 2017. Life 3.0, you can find that on Amazon, talks about that. So I feel that the Muslims in Saudi Arabia, they're allowing their women to not wear headscarves. They don't have to cover their whole body. They can have more freedom. They can drive cars now. And a few years ago, there's a funny story. Queen Elizabeth would drive a Land Rover, and when the Prince of Saudi Arabia visited her at Buckingham Palace, she started speeding very fast, like many kilometers per hour, speeding to try to scare him because she was a mechanic in the military during World War II. She served her nation for the British Empire on the front lines as a mechanic, and so she was an expert race driver, and she scared him to make women in Saudi Arabia be able to drive automobiles. So I believe that Muslims are working together with other religions in Israel, specifically in Jerusalem, to work together because the Israel Defense Forces, the IDF, has Muslims, Christians, and atheists and Jewish people all working together in their military forces. So they're very cosmopolitan, and I think that Muslim nations like Malaysia is very proactive on the peace front for prosperity in the economy to grow business with the United Nations, the goals in the Envision 2030 initiative.
Okay, very interesting. So let's say I want to give you a case study. Okay, like case study, something like that. That for your research writing or your write up and this kind of things, you have a choice for three topic. Number one, from your Black Lives Matters, from this point of views, you have to write something. Number two, Asian cultures and beautifications, you have to write something. Number three, you have to be create a strategy for African nation developments, or example, any of the developing nations developments. So what area you will choose right now? Like example, what area is more interesting for you?
Number two, because I just wrote a research article on the great inventions of China, which was gunpowder, paper making, and printing, and the compass. And that was a very interesting research paper that I wrote for an academic student at one of our sister universities in Beijing, China, the Science Institute there. And when I was in college at Pittsburgh State University, I was able to travel internationally to China to be a student ambassador to recruit international students to Pitt State. So I got to see the culture and speak Mandarin with the students there and to recruit them to Parsons, Kansas for Labette Community College as well, and to help grow my classes that I would teach in the future for public speaking. So I have traveled to China, Taiwan, I have traveled to Hong Kong and Japan, and those are the only four nations that I've traveled to as an ambassador for the university to spread peace and education to inform people. And I got to go on the Great Wall of China. That's my profile picture for LinkedIn and Facebook. And also, I have been very proud to see the terracotta soldiers. When I was a kid, I saw that in the encyclopedia, the World Book that I would read. I saw them on PBS, Public Broadcasting Station, the BBC, British Broadcasting Corporation, and National Geographic Magazine. I got to see the terracotta soldiers, which was in the emperor's tomb there near Beijing in Xi'an, China, which was amazing. It was football fields worth of soldiers and archaeological dig sites like Indiana Jones, one of my favorite movie franchises.
Okay.
So I would
Okay.
write about Asia.
Okay, definitely. In the next time, I want to invite you in Malaysia, and hopefully you will find very beautiful environment, very good food, very good beach,
Yes.
very good environment. So I want to invite you all in the truly beautiful Asia. It's in Malaysia. So I want to know more about your country cultures and how is your cultures? how what's the beautiful things of your countries, or from your area you want to share with us?
Well, our sports teams, we have, you call it American football, but we call it pigskin football. We have won the Super Bowl, the Kansas City Chiefs, and the Kansas City Royals have won the World Series just like the Cubs did, like Back to the Future 2 was proven right about that after nearly 100 years without a win. So I'm a Royals fan for baseball and a Kansas City Chiefs fan for American football. And that's what we look at right now. And with the coronavirus, there are no live sports on ESPN. So people are watching documentaries about sports heroes like Michael Jordan in the NBA. And hopefully we can get back to normal because I'm a fan of the Jayhawks for basketball and I'm a Sooner fan for football. So for the Oklahoma universities. So sports are a major issue, just like Roman senator in history Cicero talked about bread and circuses to keep the entertainment of the people. I hope that we have hemp bread and circuses, which are sports. Now, what sports are you a fan of? Are you a fan of soccer, football, or cricket, or another sport in
Yes,
Malaysia?
Malaysia people love football, even badmintons and these things they really love. Malaysian people actually very good, peace loving. They are really peaceful. Even if you see last 30, 40 years, they do not have any problem fighting. Even in coronavirus period, I want to share these things that they are very disciplined, and they follow government rules and policy perfectly. Government also take a lot of good initiatives. That's why here coronavirus is not in bad condition. It's in very good condition, Malaysian situation. I just want to know more about one of the things, like uh, as you are a progressive thinker, as you think lot of good things, so as well as you get chance to like meet with different senators, you are working with different parliament members and different kind of things. Can you share your experience with our audience, like as you have engagement with the different kind of political peoples and other things? What the interesting things you come? You have a plan to come to the politics, or still you are in learning process, or what's your plan actually?
Well, I worked on Senator Rand Paul's presidential campaign because he was a constitutional conservative, very libertarian Republican, and I did that in Des Moines, Iowa. And before I answer the politics, I'd like to get back to soccer real quick because you reminded me, you talked about how it's very peaceful. Anybody of all classes, how rich or poor you are, you can play soccer on any field across the world, football. Well, in World War One, there was what was called the Christmas truce, where German soldiers from Prussia and English soldiers and French soldiers and Belgium soldiers on the Allied side decided to stop fighting on Christmas, and they went and played soccer. They played football on the no man's land battlefield, and they exchanged gifts to each other. And even though the generals were mad, that was how you found peace through football, and that was a great story. Look it up on Google or YouTube, the Christmas truce, football, soccer. So getting back to politics, I love working behind the scenes as a kingmaker by helping write speeches, victory for liberty. I like being a meme magician by creating communicative images like Richard Dawkins talks about the memes. And for you may think Edward Bernays propaganda. Well, it's just advertising. That's public relations is what I do best with press releases. So I have no thoughts of running for public office myself. I look to make other people win their elections. And if I make some money from it, well, God bless them.
Okay, okay, very interesting. This is actually very different strategy. So anyway, like I want to go to the present conditions. So what will happen in the business industry? Because now all of the business going shutdowns and the many more challenges happening. What do you think? Even what will be the relationship in between USA and China, and what your thoughts?
Well, I feel that trade tariffs are bad because I'm an Austrian economist, and I say that you have zero taxes and you have zero tariffs. You should have free trade no matter what country is having the business, because it's better for all of us. Because there's three things that Clinton, White House, Al Gore's former speechwriter Daniel Pink wrote about in his book on the rise of the three A's. Asia, abundance, and automation are the three key factors that are changing the future of business, especially now that artificial intelligence is taking over blue collar manufacturing jobs. It's also taking over white collar jobs of business professionals.
Mhm.
So,
Okay.
artificial intelligence is leveling the playing field, and China is a key leader in that research for supercomputers.
So you come up with the artificial intelligence idea as well. What do you think? What will be the futures of this AI? And like AI will win against women or man? And what will be the civilization context? What do you think?
Yes, well, I read all the books that I can about it, and there is the Google chief engineer, Ray Kurzweil, and he wrote the book, The Singularity is Near. He predicts by the year 2045 that computers will be smarter than all of humankind combined. So smarter than everyone, and it will be the last invention that we ever need to make. And that's why Elon Musk is a founding member. He worked with Stephen Hawking, the scientist, him before he passed away, along with actor Alan Alda, who was famous as being Hawkeye in the MASH television series. They all are board members of the Future of Life Institute, with Max Tegmark as the president, and they are trying to make sure that artificial intelligence is going to be friendly and work together with cyborgs with humans. And one of the companies that Elon Musk is the CEO of with Microsoft is called Neuralink, which is getting a brain chip implant that can connect to your smartphone, computer, and have the internet that will make humankind combine with the robots and artificial intelligence. So our future evolution is not just over tens of thousands of years, it's going to be within the next decade. We're going to have a computer that can beat the Alan Turing test, that can be smart as a human, and then smarter than all of humankind combined. So it's kind of scary, but once you learn about it and work together, we are going to have a future so good where we're going, we don't need roads, as Doc Brown says in Back to the Future.
Okay. Like as we are working with sustainability, we are working with the global peace and this kind of things. What your advice for WT forums? Like as we are moving with the global sustainabilities in every aspect, our food, our education, technologies, uh, everywhere we want to find out more sustainable strategy. How we get more sustainable strategy for our regular life. What's your thought on that particular point?
Well, there's three R's that you need to know: reduce, recycle, and reuse. Reduce, recycle, reuse. And that's why hemp is so important. It's food, fuel, and fiber. It will replace petroleum, oil, plastic waste. It's biodegradable hemp plastic. And the famous businessman from America who created the Model T automobile, Henry Ford, he built one of his cars out of hemp plastic fiberglass, and he fueled the car with hemp fuel. And hemp biodiesel is half as expensive as petrol, or gasoline is what we call it in America, and it's a crop, so it's sustainable. So there's three things we need. We need to have hemp for fuel, food, and fiber. Two, we need to protect the honeybees for our crops because they make honey and they also make sure our crops can bloom. And finally, we need to work together on solar energy. And Elon Musk has solar roofs that are cheaper than regular rooftops right now. So with Tesla, his company Tesla Motors is making batteries that you can use. And Congressman Thomas Massey is living off the grid. He produces his own energy on his ranch in Kentucky while he grows hemp, has honeybee hives, and that's how we can be sustainable. Have honeybee hives in the city, have flowers for the bees and the hummingbirds, and grow vegetables. Don't mow yards. That's such a waste of gasoline and petrol, is mowing landscaping when you should be growing gardens like what Sweden does. They have yards full of vegetables to support the local community. When the food chain has been disrupted by the coronavirus, they can go to their neighbor and barter vegetables and honey and all sorts of things like hemp seed for bread flour.
Okay, this is actually a lot of discussion we finished today. There are, you find out the hemp, how it's helpful for our society and for human being, as well as you come up with the different strategy of USA, the political strategy, as well as we find that you are a writer, you are innovators, and you do a lot of research works and many interesting thoughts. And most importantly, you come up with the sustainable thoughts, like how we can make our life more sustainable. My last question for you, then we will finish this sessions. Like how we can make our world more peaceful.
I would like to quote President John Fitzgerald Kennedy, JFK. He said we should not seek the Republican solution. We should not seek the Democrat solution. We should seek the right solution. Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. And that's why you need to volunteer with the United Nations, UNESCO. You need to join the Peace Corps. You need to join your community. To make the government work, you have to be part of it. If you can't beat them, join them. So like e pluribus unum, out of many one. And that's how we secure the future for liberty. And I apologize, my client that I'm talking to for my Zoom session is about to be ready. So I have 5 more minutes.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Basically, we have to close this session as well. It's very interesting sessions, and this is very effective and informative session we get from you. And most important thing is that we believe in peace, and we want talent people like you, those who can contribute for the society and they can change the world. So the more and more we get more brilliant people like you, and we want to do some sort of contribution for the society, and by this way we can build a more global peaceful society. This is World Talent Economy Forum, and how you supporting us and how we get support from you, it will be really helpful for us. And thank you for today's session. It's a very informative sessions and very strategic and very meaningful session for us. Thank you for your good contribution.
Thank you for the World Talent Economy Forum, and your viewers, remember tjwass@gmail.com to get a free copy of my business strategy book. And the last thing I want to tell you is God bless you, Sharif, and the followers out there. And as Spock would say from Star Trek, live long and prosper. So
Thank you.
thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, TJ. Thank you, everyone.